Welcome back to the Renaissance Center here in Detroit for the second day of the Detroit Grand Prix and the day that IMSA ran their race. We'll talk about that, talk to the winners in each of the two classes, GTP and GTD Pro. That's a mouthful after this, but we're also going to talk IndyCar. We'll start the show off with IndyCar because, of course, IndyCar races tomorrow. A lot of storylines, I think, going into Detroit. Not quite as many as the Indianapolis 500, but I don't think we really expect that at this point. Remember as well, subscribing is free, liking the video is free, and commenting is free. And if you do all three, it helps me out a lot if you enjoy the content. So let's talk a little bit about Detroit and the storylines going into this race. I think the big one is that the Andretti Global team, particularly Kyle Kirkwood and Colton Herta, look extremely strong. They were very strong at Long Beach. They won Long Beach with Kyle Kirkwood, but the person who's on the pole position is Colton Herta for the race. And one of the things that's different about this year's Detroit Grand Prix, and really kind of is similar to the Indianapolis 500 here in the Midwest, it's definitely cooler conditions for the end of May, beginning of June than we have seen in recent years. Typically, cool conditions mean better racing. And the other thing that I was wondering, and you'll hear me to ask Colton about this here in just a second, are the tires, because we have seen the street races this year not exactly be all that entertaining. Now, of course, we're kind of expecting this to be dramatic and exciting and, lots of contact, but from a strategy perspective, how is this race going to be different, especially with the cooler conditions? That's what I asked Colton in the post-qualifying press conference today. Yeah, Colton, just wanted to ask about the DEG, especially with the cooler conditions versus what we've seen before. I mean, the strategies have been pretty straightforward on the street courses this year. Do you think that's going to be much different with maybe some cooler conditions?
It could be. Not in the sense that you're going to do 30 laps on a set of reds and make it a two-stop still. But, it could open it up to maybe 15, 20 laps. And that would open up the race a lot and be really interesting. I think that's where you want that drop-off to lead you. It's like, I could stay out 5 more laps, but I might lose 6 or 7 seconds here. But then I can keep up with the two-stop and do the two-stop. Whereas right now, I think we just have a little bit too much DEG for that opportunity. But I do think that this track, like I said before, like the tire temps are coming up so slow, and that's really like the killer of the tires. So with it being cooler, yeah, you could see. I mean, I don't want to put a number on it, but you could see a lot more laps than we have in the past.
And you just heard from Colton Herta. He is on the pole position for the Detroit Grand Prix tomorrow. On the outside of the front row is David Malukas, a fantastic qualification effort for the second place finisher in the Indianapolis 500. He's still looking for his first IndyCar win. Second row is Kyle Kirkwood, who claims that he had a lap that was 0.4 of a second faster than his previous one, but he broke a toe link, and that's ultimately why he ended up third on the grid. Christian Lundgaard, who has shown such speed for Arrow McLaren, brings the one of only 2 Chevys in the Fast 6 up into that position. Alex Palou will start 5th. He qualified 6th because Graham Rahal got an engine penalty after losing an engine on Fast Friday at Indianapolis. That elevates Rinus VeeKay into the Fast 6, his first race with engineer Michael Cannon. 7th position is Scott McLaughlin and Will Power. That's a lockout row for Team Penske. We're going to see what happens with those two. Those are the fastest Penskes in the field. Joseph Newgarden had a very bad day today. We've got then Marcus Armstrong in the number 10 spot, and then alongside of him, or sorry, not alongside of him, but behind him is Graham Rahal and Christian Rasmussen on the outside. Marcus Ericsson in the next row alongside of Louis Foster, Felix Rosenqvist, Alexander Rossi, and then we get down to Scott Dixon, who is the other driver with a 6th place grid spot penalty. Then it's Callum Ilott, Pato O'Ward, who Kyle is picking to win from 18th position, Kiffin Simpson in 19th, Jacob Abel, his best qualifying effort thus far, so definitely the Dale Coyne Racing took a step up with Michael Cannon joining the team. Santino Ferrucci, Robert Schwartzman, the pole sitter at Indianapolis, Devlin DeFrancesco, Joseph Newgarden, who just had an awful day today, continuing an awful season, the Juncos cars, and then Nolan Siegel, shotgun on the field after losing an engine during qualifications. So as the last two Detroit Grand Prix have kind of set us up for, I think we're expecting a chaotic race. Let's go to some of the quotes from the drivers we got on Friday and whether or not they expect that.
Oh, I'm more than ready. You know, we've had a 100% green flag race, you know, through the season. Maybe things will be more spiced up here. I think our car's pretty strong here. Our car's very strong on the brakes. So, you know, Long Beach was a bit of a struggle, but I think we'll be pretty good here.
I'm excited. You know, Chevrolet does a great job. Excited to be running around the Ren Center, big logo. So makes me happy, makes me proud to be a Chevrolet owner and be here for this event. So obviously they've done a lot of work. I think, you know, Penske Entertainment's done a great job smoothing this track out a little bit, making it a bit more livable for us. I want to see it extended. Like, I want to see the track a little bit longer into one. Just, I don't know how that works. I've never built a track. I've never done one. But it'd be cool because I think we'd open up another passing zone for the fans. But this place, it's put on a good show with the weather past years, so I'm hoping history continues.
2023, there was actually a decent amount of green running out here. They moved the restart zone to, I think, around turn 9, so everybody will go into turn 1, which I don't like it because it's super tight. There's just a lot more space in turn 3. So that might shake things up, but I think that might actually cause a track blockage if somebody goes off there.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on making it through green flag all the way through. This track is really tough, and it's super tight, super narrow, and it doesn't race super well, and so you kind of have to force the issue a little bit, which we saw last year. And add a few drops of rain in the mix, and it will definitely cause some chaos.
You know, it was a lot of carnage here last year. I didn't get to see it all, unfortunately. But it'll be interesting to see how it races. I think all the races this year has been a little bit different from last year. It definitely seems like I don't know if you can say that the aggression has come down, but in terms of how you drive, the cars are a little bit different, which brings the aggression a little bit down. So once we're past the race starts and restarts and stuff, I don't know how much will happen.
I think it's very simple. The track's very short. There isn't really space for all cars. It's a 1.6 mile track for 27 cars. And at the end of the day, it already forces you to kind of make lunges just to be able to pass, just the layout of the track. And this year with the hybrid, I think it's only going to be worse. I think it's a common theme that we can't follow as close. So I think there'll be more lunges. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's great that we moved the restart to between 8 and 9, because I think that's just going to help turn 3. It's going to spread the field out for there, but I feel like we're going to see some things happen in turn 1. But I would almost prefer it there versus turn 3 just from a safety perspective.
But there was racing today, a 100-minute IMSA race on the streets of Detroit. Quite honestly, it was a banger. It was awesome. It was as good of a race as I've maybe seen this year. Actually, thinking about it, this might be the most exciting race that I've seen all year. I don't know what that means or what that... But you know what? I usually don't say a lot of good things about Detroit, I'll be honest. So I'm going to say something. That was a fun race, a really fun race. And, you know, you would expect a race that's only going to have one pit stop, one driver change. It's not going to be that exciting. It's going to be pretty straightforward. How can you have strategy calls and differences between the cars if there's one pit stop? Well, somehow IMSA found a way. 2 of the cars that kind of overcut the rest of the field were the number 7 Porsche and the number 10 Wayne Taylor Cadillac. The Wayne Taylor Cadillac, it's been well documented at this point. Both of those cars, the 10 and the 40, really haven't been that good this year, and they were really looking for a result. It looked like they were headed for not only a good result today, but a win, because Ricky Taylor was able to muscle his way past Felipe Nasr. Going down into turn 3, really exciting pass. Felipe definitely put the squeeze on him. I don't want to say that Ricky did anything untoward. I think it was just IMSA racing. That's how it is. Very, very close. But the 93 Acura, and I'm already rolling my eyes because Kyle's already giving me a look, but the 93 Acura qualified on the pole position with Nick Yellerly on the pole position. They lost that position, that track positioning in the pits, but somehow, some way, that car came back through the field, and it was a lot of the battling in the traffic that helped. There's no doubt about that. But they got around into second, and they were closing in on the 10 car, and you're sitting there going, I think they're going to get this. Renger van de Zande just drove his brains out. I'm not gonna say what I wanted to say there because my mom's watching, but he drove his brains out. And making a pass into turn 1 here at Detroit, that's a very difficult prospect for anybody, much less a pass for the win. Renger and Ricky Taylor, extremely experienced with one another. It was beautiful. And I hate to, Kyle, Kyle has something to say.
Yeah, David gets stick bugged. I was right about Colton on the pole, and I was right about Acura winning. So Pato is not doing me justice right now, but he's got to win tomorrow. And David, every time I have a bad take, you just feel the need to contradict me, and I've been right this whole time. I mean, not to mention all the times that I brought something up to him during May that wasn't on Unverified that I was validated on. I mean, what do you just stop contradicting me, and I'm gonna go back behind the camera, get stick bugged.
Yeah, if you don't know, on Unverified, and I don't know why I have to contradict Kyle, but Kyle said very clearly the 93 Acura was going to win this race, and I said there was no way. I said just wasn't going to happen, and it happened. And not only did it happened in like a battle. Like they didn't dominate. Like they actually just Renger just drove it up through the field and won the race. We talked to Renger after the race. It's a very good interview. And one of the things I think is really cool is the fact that Renger obviously has the experience with the Cadillac. He mentioned that in the post-race press conference. The battle between the Cadillac and the Acura, I mean, that's a tale as old as time in IMSA at this point, but not many drivers cross over between the two of them. So what was it like? How did Renger know exactly where to make the move in his Acura on the Cadillac?
I mean, at the end of the day, GM has a great car. It's always fast. It's always around, to fight for the victories. And I was part of the development of the Cadillac. I drove it here last year, and I was behind the Cadillac. And going into turn 1, it was not the strongest corner of the Cadillac last year, and I could see Ricky also taking care. The feeling there over some sort of the puddles wasn't helping in. And I think the braking zone was the strong part of the Acura. So once I saw that, I was like, turn 3 is not going to happen. They had so much straight line speed into turn 3 that if I have a move, I'll do it in turn 1. But it's risky there because it's very slippery and very narrow and all that. But hey, we made it stick. And if you're fighting a guy like Ricky, he's going to fight you hard, but he's going to be fair at the same time when you have a move at them. So good fun, man.
You mentioned that difference between the Cadillac and the Acura. What is different about driving the Acura here versus the Cadillac?
It's not so much here. It's quite everywhere. I mean, the Cadillac is very, very good out of the corner on traction. I think the Acura is a bit better on the entry phase of the corner. So that's about it.
As a race car driver, how great is it to win a race when you get to make the 2 passes for the win?
I mean, it's the best feeling, to be honest. I think Nick did a fantastic job in qualifying and also in the first part of the race. So it's a team effort. And at this time, I think on the strategy, there went something wrong that we lost 2 positions. But then if you can make it up and put your mark on a race like that, it's just a great feeling.
And of course, it wasn't just GTP, as it never is in IMSA. There's 2 classes, at least 2 classes in IMSA. GTD Pro was also on the circuit today at the Detroit Grand Prix, and it was a battle of American iron. It was the Corvettes from Pratt & Miller Motorsports and the Multimatic Ford Mustangs, and that was an exciting battle. Certainly, those of us who, kind of like the storyline, it's always kind of fun to see that, Ford versus Chevy. There was definitely a lot of, I'm going to say a word that I've said already once this weekend, argy-bargy, or a phrase, argy-bargy. That applied to the Paul Miller Racing BMWs, which have just been very, very rotten all year long. I think that's the best way to put it. Even at one point in this race, they were crashing into each other. They crashed into one of the Ford Mustangs. They all got penalties. It was a disaster from that perspective. And poor old Roxy. Roxy did not have, the Porsche from AO Racing, did not have a very good day. Got bullied by one of the Corvettes at one point, and then got bullied by, it was a Lexus in the beginning of the race, and then towards the end of the race it was a Corvette, and then Roxy retaliated on the Corvette, and they both went spinning, and they both got a drive-through for avoidable contact, and yeah. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it was Ford and their Mustang coming out on top, and the driver that drove across the finish line was one Mike Rockenfeller, and we got to talk to him after the race. Okay, Mike, you mentioned it, and I think it was a great quote. You are a Ford winner in a Ford town. How does that feel?
Amazing, honestly amazing. You know, I've been at Flat Rock where they produce the Mustangs, and our chassis, they are also produced there. So, you know, the victory is really for the employees, for the whole Ford family and everybody. Of course, also I'm super happy, you know, Sebi and I, but clearly at the end we drive the car, but there's so many people behind. And I've been racing for a long time, and I know what it takes and how much effort everybody needs to put in. So to win in Detroit, yeah, everybody says it's a GM town, but for me, all the people I saw, they love Ford. So I don't know what they are talking about.
A 100-minute race, so difficult because you've got one pit stop and one driver change, and you have to get it absolutely right. You guys did. Tell me about that.
I tell you, that was the biggest worry, clearly. On top of, you know, driving right and make no mistakes and everything. I think our tire pressure was a touch high, so I was really fighting with the car. Wasn't perfect. The Corvette was pretty strong behind me. They had some advantages and some disadvantages, and so it kind of evened out in lap time. But if I did one mistake, he had me. So I really pushed hard. But the driver change, we practiced again before the race quite a lot, because in the warm-up, or the FP3, the third session, which is kind of a warm-up, we did a few hot in pit lane, and it was horrible, like horrible. Nothing worked, you know, and I was like, man, we lose this race on the pit stop. And Sebi and I, with the team together, we went to the garage and we checked everything, and we found small details to adjust the belts and, you know, the bungees where they basically get pulled off, and some detail work. And then we got down to like 13, you know, and we have no driver helper, so we are doing it on our own. Some they have a helper, some they don't. And he came in and he overshot the box. So that was and I was like, oh, that starts good, you know. So the fueler went to the left, I went to the left, all good. And then he couldn't get out. And I was like, oh man, you know, this is like a disaster again. And then, but then he did great, and he jumped out and he focused on the belt, because this is the crucial one here in our car. And then, you know, I got it, and basically they said, wait on fuel, go, and I went. It was just like, we didn't lose a split second. And then it took me like ages to get everything sorted, probably like, because you have to do pedals, you have to do the steering wheel, you have to do your belts, you know, the air cooling. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and you're driving. So, yeah, and under green, so it was great, and everybody is facing the same challenge. But I'm very, very happy that we made it, because that was crucial. If we lost 5 seconds, game over.
So like I said, I thought this IMSA event was just absolutely awesome. Really, really fun. If you haven't watched it yet, it will be available on YouTube to watch for free. So there's really no excuse. It's 100 minutes. You can find that in your day. Or even if you can't find the 100 minutes, watch the last 30 minutes of this race. It was absolutely awesome. Kind of a sports car summer here on the channel, no doubt about it. We're still going to attend IndyCar races, go to those. But I'm planning on actually expanding my IMSA calendar from what I have in the past. I'll be attending Road America later on this summer, as well as, of course, Indianapolis and our traditional stop at Petit Le Mans in October. Really looking forward to that. And I guess I'll say this too, you know, got a very interesting June that's very sports car heavy. So I'm going to be attending the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Not going to be doing an Indy 500 style. There's still some content that will be coming out of Le Mans, but really for me that's going to be more of a let's remember why we like racing sort of thing. And I, of course, really like racing. But there'll be some content coming out of Le Mans, just don't you worry. But after that, Hyundai and I and Brian Herta Autosport will be going to the Nürburgring for the Nürburgring 24 Hours. So I get to spend 2.5 weeks in Europe, do some coverage there, especially of the Nürburgring. Really looking forward to that. Everybody who's kind of mentioned that event to me says it's one of the greatest in the world. So I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. Pick for tomorrow's race. I say this with some risk because obviously my takes have not been all that great recently. But I think Kyle Kirkwood is going to get it done tomorrow. And of course, that only gives us 2 winners on the entire season for IndyCar, if that does indeed happen. But I can't bet against him. It would almost be like betting against Alex Palou, which, by the way, if he gets 8 hours of sleep tomorrow night, don't be surprised if you see Alex Palou in victory lane again. But at least for now, I think Andretti Global's got some speed. I think Colton, if it's not Colton Herta, I think it's going to be Kyle Kirkwood. And that's it. Detroit Grand Prix tomorrow. We'll have all the coverage of whatever happens. We'll probably do it from the Goofy Odd Pit Lane because that's always fun. We'll see you in the next video.